गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are seeing this Viveka Chudamani, and we are seeing this section called Asat Pariharam. Asat Parihara. And in that we have read a few slokas. Asat Parihara is negating what is the Asat. And in the last class we read this shloka, Bhakyabhisamdhi. We read this shloka. सत्याभिसंधानरतो विमुक्तो महत्वम् आत्मीयमुपैति नित्यं मिथ्याभिसंधानरतस्तु नश्येत् दृष्टं तदेतद् यद् अचोरचोरयोः. This particular shloka we read in the last class, and I also explained to you Satya Abhisandhanam, Mithya Abhisandhanam. These two are the words which are used in that shloka. Satya, what is this Satyam? We should always keep in mind the definition given in the Taittiriya Upanishad, because wherever we go, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, in one shape or the other they are seen. Everywhere in defining Brahma, the same three words come across in different names: Satyam, Jnanam and Anantam. So here Satya Abhisandhanam, that is identifying with the Sat, recognizing the Sat, realizing the Sat. So that is Satya Abhisandhanam. Abhisandhanam is following that. Abhisandhana is applying to oneself. Yeah, this is my real nature. This is my identity. This is my self. So that is Satya Abhisandhanam. Mithya Abhisandhanam is identifying with the body-mind complex. What is unreal? Satyam and Mithya. And for these two words, Satyam and Mithya, they have been explained even in the long ago when we read the Gita Bhashyam. Nasato vidyate bhavo, nabhavo vidyate sataha. There again, Sat and Asat, they have been explained by Shankaracharya there. Satyam, what did we see there? Satyam is something which cannot be negated at any point of time. That is, beyond this Kala Paricheda, everything in the universe is subject to this Kala Paricheda. That is something which is delimited by time. We are all here today. We will not be there in 22nd century. We were not there in 20th century, say 19th century. And then we will all be there. We are all again confined by being Vastu Parichanna, a particular identity, a particular entity, and not you are X and not Y. And then again Desha Parichanna, you are in this particular place, you are not in the other particular place. So Parichannatvam, Kala Parichanna, beyond Kala Parichanna is something which is Satyam. That which is there at all times, which cannot be negated at any point of time, is Satya. So that is Satya, Satyam, and Satya Abhisandhi. That is a person who is identifying with that real nature, which is Sat. Only he gets vimukti, only he gets released from the sense of bondage. Otherwise the sense of bondage is always there, because this Mithyabhisandhanam, this identification with the body-mind complex, it is always leading him to bondage. You are perceiving yourself as a limited being. Naturally you are having some various types of relationships, various types of obligations, various types of bondages, anxieties and all types of things caused by all the bondages. So this is the shloka which we read in the last class, and the example given there was Mithyabhisandhana ratastu nashyet drushtam tadetad yad achora chorayoh. Chora and achora. Chora is a thief, achora is a non-thief. In that Chandogya Upanishad there was an episode where say that Tapta Parashu Dushtantam, Tapta Parashu Grahana. Tapta Parashu Grahana means in olden days, trial by fire was one of the ways of trial. That is, suppose somebody is suspected to have committed some offense. How do you know whether he has committed an offense, he is really the thief or not? He is asked to hold on to a hot iron rod. Tapta Parashu. Parashu is actually a sort of axe. Tapta means something which is red hot. A red hot axe, a red hot rod. You take anything, some sort of red hot iron material, he is asked to hold. And if it does not burn him, then he is pure, he has not done anything. If it burns, he is the thief. So this Tapta Parashu Grahanam was the test. So anyway, in those days I do not know how it was implemented. But then as an example we can take this. As an example we can take this. We should not go into the reality of it. Should we, if we really hold, suppose you have not committed any theft, if you really hold the tapta parasu, will it really burn you or not? We do not know. But then we do not know how it was implemented in those days. So we will take it just as an example. So a person satyabhisandha, a person who is having that satyabhisandhi, he is like the person who is not a chora, not a thief. And mithyabhisandhana rataha, somebody who is clinging on to this body-mind complex, he is like a chora. He is like a chora, who is like a thief, who is identifying with a small thing, and then he will be burnt. So like that chora gets burnt, this person also gets burnt by so many types of say problems, pressures, bondages and whatnot. So that is what we read in the last class. The next shloka we will read. I'll read the next shloka, that is 334. Yati rasadanusandhim bandha hetum vihaya swayamahamasmityatma drushtiyaiva tishthet sukhayati nanu nishtha brahmani swanubhutya harati parama vidya karya dukkham pratitam. So here again in this particular section, the entire section is only about asat and sat. I explained to you what is that sat. Sat is something which is trikala badhyam, that is beyond kala parisheda, etc. Yatihi asad anusandhim vihaya. Vihaya means having discarded, having left. Yati is what? Yatana Shila. Yatana Shila is what? A sadhaka, a seeker, a person who is trying to realize. So he is Yati. Yati, of course, the Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami, he has mentioned it as sannyasi, a person who has renounced. So this gentleman, he has to discard what asad anusandhyam, that is identification with the non-self, identification with this unreal. He has to leave it. And what is the fault it has? Asad anusandhyam bandha hetum, that is the bandha hetu, that is the cause for bondage. Asat is always the cause for bondage, because when you are identifying with something small, you are having relationship with all types of small things around you. So all these small things around you will cause some bondage, and in turn misery, and associated with the pains, pleasure, whatnot, all types of emotions. So bandha hetum vihaya swayam ayam ahamasmi. Swayam himself, ayam ahamasmi. Ayam is that what is that? That Brahman, that reality, ayam ahamasmi. Ahamasmi, aham brahmasmi, instead of ham brahmasmi, ayam ahamasmi. Ayam is that Brahma. Ayam ahamasmi iti atmadrushtiyaiva tishthet. So he has to stay in that awareness that I am. So a yati, a sadhaka has to give up this identification with this non-self, and he has to stay in this awareness that I am. That is what is called atmadrushti. Atmadrushtiyaiva, atmadrushtya eva. In that sense, with that particular frame of mind, atmadrushti is what? I am that real self, I am that Atma, I am that supreme reality, I am nothing else. So that is Atmadrushti. Atmadrushtya eva. Atmadrushtya is Tritiya Vibhakti. Atmadrushtya eva tishthet. He has to do sadhana like that. He has to do anusandhanam like that. This is what is called Brahmanusandhanam. We have come across this word earlier also. Brahmanusandhanam is, that is discarding what all is unreal, what all is drishyam. Unreal is what all is drishyam, and then staying in that awareness that you are the Druk Swarupa. So that is what we see here. Then that sort of nishtha is avasthanam, nishchayena avasthanam, that is to abide in it, to abide in that frame of mind. That is what is nishtha. Sukhayati nanu means, oh yes, indeed. So in that sense, nanu is indeed, or because that sort of Brahmani nishtha, sukhayati. Brahmani nishtha is actually, it is giving you a lot of the real bliss. Sukhayati. Swanubhutya sukhayati. Because you are having that anubhuti, swa anubhuti. This Brahman realization is not merely at an intellectual level, he also experiences in the sense that he is in that particular awareness that I am not different from that Brahman, not different from that reality. So if a person who is in that state, he attains supreme happiness. Then harati param avidya karya dukkham pratitam. Whatever dukkham was pratitam. Pratitam means something which was experienced earlier. Pratiti. Pratiti is what? Pratiti is experience. Pratitam is something which was experienced till then. Whatever dukkham was experienced till then, that particular dukkham, harati. Harati means it takes away. What? That nishtha, that Brahmani nishtha, that is abiding in that awareness of being as Brahman, that harati, it dispels, it takes away avidya karya dukkham. This dukkham which is the cause of, which is the effect of that avidya. Dukkham is always the effect of avidya. Dukkham is always the result of avidya. Avidya karya dukkham. Avidya karyam, avidyayaha karyam. That is this effect of avidya. Avidyayaha karyam is avidya karyam. And avidya karya dukkham. That dukkham which is the avidya karyam, it is dispelled by that particular awareness. So this Brahmani Nishtha is something which is giving us supreme happiness, because we come across, of course, Swamiji is again quoting that particular, in some other passage he is quoting again from Bhuma, Yo vai Bhuma tat sukham. That is what he quotes in the next page. Bhuma is that whatever is that supreme highness, whatever is that, say, which is infinite, that infinite, in that infinity only you are happy. When you are finite, you are unhappy. Only that infinity is something which gives you happiness. So that is what we also see in that shloka, Purnamadah, Purnamidam, etc. Purnamadah, Purnamidam is whatever is that infinite. I am not different from that infinite. I am also that infinite. My nature is also of that of infinity. So that is what we see there. So that is the meaning, that is the overall meaning here. Param avidya karya dukkham. That is dukkham which is the karyam, which is the effect of that avidya, that gets dispelled by this Brahma Nishtha. So that is what we see. And now of course, all this we are talking in the context of a person who has already gone through this Shravana Manana, etc. and he is at this Nididhyasana level. And a person who is doing Shravana Manana means prior to that he is also endowed with that Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampat. A person who has disciplined himself in that fourfold path, that is Sadhana Chatushtaya, and only then he becomes eligible for Shravana Manana. So then he has also done some Shravana, he has done some Manana. Now he is in this Nididhyasana level. So that is at that level. Even in this Nididhyasana level, a person can slip. That is the unfortunate thing. Even in this Nididhyasana level, even then, even if he is a little bit inalert, let us say, a little bit inalert, Pramada Ninda, we saw in that earlier passage, also Pramada Ninda we saw in the earlier section. So in this particular section, we are seeing that Asat Parihara. So the next shloka also is talking about Bhakya Abhisandhi. This particular shloka, the words used are Asad Anusandhi. The next shloka is using the word Bhakya Anusandhi. Both are one and the same. Asad Anusandhi and Bhakya Anusandhi, one and the same. Asad is unreal. Bhakya is something which is external. What is external and what is internal? You are the Druk Swarupa, you are the seer, and whatever you can objectify, whatever you can see as your non-self, all that is Bhakya, including the body-mind complex. Bhakya is not only an external object, Bhakya is also the body-mind complex. So all this thing comes under this category of Asat. So Bhakya Abhisandhi not only refers to external objects, it also refers to the body-mind complex also, which can be objectified for the only reason that this body also can be objectified, mind also can be objectified. So all these things are separate and you are that real Druk Swarupa. So next shloka is like this. Bhakya visandhih parivardhayet phalam durvasanamev tatasthatodhikam jnatva vivekaih parihritya bhakyam svatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam. So he says, Svatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam. Always you be in that state of Svatma Anusandhi. Always you be in that awareness that you are the Supreme Self. And this is possible by And he also says, first of all, he tells the evil effects of Bahya Abhisandhi. Bahya Abhisandhi is attachment to the body-mind complex or clinging to external objects, both ways. That is attachment to external objects or identification with the body-mind complex or identifying with the identification with the Drusyam. All that is Bahya Abhisandhi. What we call Kshetram in Kshetrajna Yoga, we call it Kshetram because Kshetram is not Kshetrajna. Kshetram is not me. I am only Kshetrajna. So all that Bahya Abhisandhi, what does it do? Bahya Abhisandhi Durvasanam Parivardhayet. Durvasanam Parivardhayet. Parivardhayet means it enhances, it increases. Vardhanam. Vardhanam means to grow. Parivardhayet, it increases what? Durvasana. So when you are identifying with this body-mind complex, only Durvasana will be there. Durvasana doesn't mean bad smell. In Telugu, we use the word Durvasana to refer to bad smell. It is not Durvasana. We know the word Vasana. All through we have read the word Vasana. What is Vasana? The impressions which are there in the mind. Vasati iti Vasana, isn't it? Vasati. You perform any action, that particular action leaves an impression on the mind. You are doing a particular karma, and that particular karma is leaving an impression on the mind. And this particular impression is a sort of predisposition which is going to define your future behavior also. That we have seen. Vasana, how these successive vasanas which are built up over a period of time, they influence a person in the same direction. If you are promoting all good vasanas, suppose you are always well disciplined, you are following dharma, dharmanusthana, you are very perfectly doing, all the right types of vasanas will be there. And those right type of vasanas will propel you, is it? What? The right type of vasanas will direct you always in the right direction. They have got a tendency to push you in that direction only. Suppose bad vasanas are built up. These bad vasanas will always tempt a man towards the negative direction. So consciously we have to get rid of these bad vasanas. That is what we see that Vasanakshaya. I always refer to that Vasanakshaya and Manonasha, those two chapters from Jivan Mukti Viveka of Vidyaranya. Very, very wonderful chapters which I liked. So this is Durvasana. Durvasana is all negative impressions which are built up. So this Bahya Abhisandhi can only enhance the phalam. Phalam is the result of this Bahya Abhisandhi is Durvasanameva. Tatastataha adhikam. Tatastataha, more and more. Tatastataha, more and more. Adhikam. Durvasanameva parivardhayet. It enhances. So it enhances these bad impressions and all that. Then Jnatva vivekaihi parihrutya bahyam. Vivekaihi Jnatva. Vivekaihi means Viveka, he is using it as in the sense of a sort of a particular referring to one single argument or discrimination. Discrimination actually is a process, and in that process there are so many arguments, isn't it? The Viveka or discrimination is a process, isn't it? It is not one single thing. But here it is used in the Vivekaihi, Trutiya Bahuvachana is used. Trutiya Bahuvachana means discriminations, we have to say. By discriminations, it can't be discriminations because it was only one Viveka, isn't it? So we have to figuratively take it as various arguments which are in the process of discrimination. You see, when you are doing Viveka, you have got so many arguments to substantiate your point, isn't it? In order to substantiate your point, to support your point, there are so many arguments. All those arguments, we have to take them here because this Trutiya Bahuvachanam is used. Because discrimination is only a process. And in that process, there are so many arguments, points and issues and all those things. There are so many things, inputs, let us say. All those things have to be taken here. So by Vivekaihi, with the help of all these arguments which are presented above, of course the Swamiji he mentions, he says it is referring to the earlier shlokas, shloka number 327 to 328, where pramadam vai mrityuhu, etc. Pramadam vai mrityu is any type of inattentiveness will lead you to mrityu. Mrityu means not physical death. Mrityu means this samsara, this entanglement in the samsara. That is what is mrityu. So those are the reasons. So jnatva vivekaihi, by all these logical arguments, bahyam parihrutya, having negated this bahyam, having negated what all is external, having negated what all can be objectified, then nityam swatmanusandhim vidadhita. Nityam, always. Atmanusandhim vidadhita. Vidadhita means you have to be there, you have to be established there. Vidadhita is you have to do in that sense. Vidadhita. Sahasa vidadhitana kriyam. You see that shloka, if you remember. Sahasa vidadhitana kriyam means you should not do anything hastily. That is Bharavi's shloka. Sahasa vidadhitana kriyam avivekah param apadam padam. So we read in Kiratarjuniyam, isn't it? So na vidadhita means you should not do. So here it is swatmanusandhim vidadhita. You have to do that swatmanusandhanam always. The next shloka also, it also refers, it tells as to what is the result of this Vatmanusandhi. So when you are doing this rejection of this Bhakya Padartha, and then what is the use? What is the result, ultimate result? The ultimate result is prasannata, he says. That prasada or prasannata. So this word we come across in Vedanta several times. Prasada, we get in Gita Bhashya also, Gita also. Prasadam abhigacchati, prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasyopajaayate, prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatisthate. Second chapter we have seen that prasada. So there for prasada, Shankaracharya explains it as prasannata, swasthyam. So that is the definition, that is the meaning he used. Swasthyam is what? Swasmin sthaha. He is abiding in himself. That is, he is in his real nature. He has realized his nature. That is what is swasthyam. And when that swasthyam is there, mind prasada, it is not disturbed by anything else. It is tranquil. It is pure, disturbed. This antahkarana is not disturbed by anything because he is in that state of awareness. He is in that state of happiness. So we will read the shloka. Bahye niruddhe manasah prasannata manah prasade paramatma darshanam tasmin sudrushte bhavabandhanashaha bahir nirodha padavi vimuktehe. So he says, Bahye niruddhe manasah prasannata. It is Sati Saptami. Bahye niruddhe sati manasah prasannata bhavati. So that is the overall sentence. Bahye niruddhe sati. When this bahya, when this external thing, when what is called drushya is niruddha. Niruddha means, nirodha is what? Nirodha means to negate. Niruddham is something which has been negated. Bahye niruddhe sati. When you have negated this bahyam, negated how? Negated by logical arguments only. Negated by vivekaihi. In the earlier shloka, we saw the word vivekaihi. Jnatva vivekaihi parihritya bahyam. This bahyam can be, the bahya parihara can happen only by viveka. Vivekaihi parihritya. So by that, bahye niruddhe, then what is the result? Manasaha prasannata sambhavati. This mind becomes tranquil in the sense that you are undisturbed. You are like in the, like that ocean, or you are like that as a sky itself. Akasha is the closest comparison to Brahman, isn't it? Akasha is something which doesn't undergo any change. There is no question as Bhakya and Abhyantara. There is no question as inside or outside in Akasha. So it is like that. Then manah prasade paramatma darshanam. When that mind is tranquil, then paramatma darshanam. Darshanam does not mean in a mode of duality. So we go to the temple and then you darshanam of the Lord, and then you are there as a bhakta, and then that Lord is there, you are visualizing that Lord in that idol. So that is in the sense of mode of duality. But here Paramatma Darshanam is not in the mode of duality. Paramatma Darshanam, because a word has to be used, that word is used, but then Darshanam does not mean you are away. You are the same Druksvarupa. So, Manah Prasade, when that mind is tranquil, this Paramatma is realized, that supreme reality. Paramatma does not mean a person. Supreme reality is realized, and then that Tasmin Sudrushte Bhavabandhanasha, Tasmin Brahmani Sudrushte Sati Bhavabandhanasha Bhavati. So, that is the full sentence. Tasmin Brahmani. Tasmin refers to Brahma. Tasmin sudrushte, when that Brahman is perfectly realized, sudrushte, drushte sati. Sudrushte means well realized. It is very firmly realized, without any sort of doubt. When it is well realized means what? Seen as your own self. Swamiji writes, sudrushte means when it is, he is writing, Ananya Rupena, Nirantaram Sakshatkara, he says. Ananya Rupa is realized as not different from one's own self. So, Tasmin Sudrushte, Bhava Bandha Nashaha. This bondage automatically disappears. It is not as though you are forcibly getting rid of something like that. Once you realize that, all other things they appear trivial and then they disappear. Nasha. What is the meaning of Nasha? Nashi Adarshane. Nasha is Nashi Adarshane. It disappears. That's all. You need not make any conscious effort. Once that Tasmin Sudrushte, when that is realized, when your real nature is realized, then automatically this bondage disappears. Then Bahirnirodha Padavi Vimuktehe. Bahirnirodha, that is Bhakya Padarthanam Nirodha, that is negation of the external objects, negation of this Drishyam, is Vimuktehe Padavi. It is the path for Vimukti. Vimuktehe Padavi. Padavi is used in the sense as Margam. Padavi is Marga. That is the path or the way for liberation is only Bahir Nirodha. That is negation of this external thing, negation of this Bhakyam. So this Swamiji also has quoted the same sense shloka, Prasade Sarvadukhanam Hanirasyopajayate. He has quoted, that is Gita, second Adhyaya, 65th shloka. And he also quotes Sudrushte, means he says seen as one's own self. And then Bahir Nirodha, that is the Chittam. Chittam is Antahkarana, is not dwelling on any external object. Bhakya Alambana Rahitam. Bhakya Alambana means it is not dwelling on any external object. All the external objects have been negated. So that is what we see. External objects negation means what? Again we can quote even this Isha Vasyamidagam Sarvam. Isha Vasyam. Vasyam means Achhadaniyam. Shankaracharya says Achhadaniyam. You have to enwrap the whole universe with the idea of Brahman. When you see an object, when you see a pen, you have to enwrap with the idea of Brahman. When you see that bottle has to be enwrapped with the idea of Brahma. So the entire universe has to be enwrapped by the idea of Brahman, in the sense that it is something which is a manifestation in that consciousness. Everything what we see is only a manifestation in that consciousness. So with that, you have to enwrap that idea, enwrap the whole universe in the idea of Brahman. So that is what is Vritti, is not dependent or hooked on to any external object. So that is the path for moksha, that is the path for liberation. Moksha is liberation, not dependent on any external things. Then the next shloka, the next shloka talks about Kah Panditasam Sadasad Viveki Shruti Pramanah Paramarthadarshi Janan hi kuryad asato valambam swapata heto shishuvan mamukshuhu. So he says, which fool will dwell on external objects? That is the sum and substance of this shloka. This sadasad vivek is somebody who is having this awareness of one's own self, having realized it. Which fool will dwell on external objects? It is a rhetorical question which we see quite often. Which fool will dwell means nobody will dwell. Kah Panditaha, which Pandita? Pandita is, again, we saw this word in Gita. Panda Atma Vishayakam Jnanam Yasya Sa Panditaha. Pandita is Atma Vishayakam Jnanam. Here, of course, in that sense only it is used. Pandita is Panda Atma Vishayakam Jnanam Yasya Sa Panditaha. Kah Panditaha, which realized person, Pandita's son, having been a Pandita, being a Pandita, then Sadasad Viveki. Then Shruti Pramanaha, Paramartha Darshi, Sadasad Viveki, Vivekin is the Shabda. Then Shruti Pramanaha, Vivekin. Then Paramartha Darshi, Paramartha Darshin, isn't it? Paramartha Darshin is the thing. That is Nini Pratyaya. Nini Pratyaya is what? That is his nature. Tachilya Ninihi, there is some sutram, isn't it? That is Paramartha Darshi means realizing that Paramatman is his very nature, Paramarthadarshi, that is Dirghadarshi, that is looking far beyond, that is his nature, Dirghadarshi. Similarly, Paramarthadarshi, realizing the Paramatma is his nature, that is Paramarthadarshi, whose nature is to see Paramartha. Similarly, Sadasad Viveki, whose nature is to discriminate between what is real and what is unreal, Sadasad Viveki. So, Paramarthadarshi, the person whose nature, Swamiji Chandrasekhara Bharati also writes the same, the person whose nature is to see Paramartha. So, that is Paramarthadarshi. Then Shruti Pramanaha. Shruti Pramanaha is a person for whom Shruti is Pramanam. Shrutihi Pramanaha Pramanam Yasya Saha. Shrutihi Pramanam Yasya Saha Bahurihi. Shruti Pramanaha. So, a person for whom Shruti is Pramanam. That is why Shruti is Pramanam here. Because Shruti is Pramanam in all things which are beyond sensory perception, beyond the mental conceptualization, something which is beyond the mind, then you have to trust this Shruti. So, Shruti Pramanaha. Then such a person, Kah Panditaha, who will do, Jananhi Kuryad Asato Avalambam. Asataha Avalambam Kaha Kuryat. Asataha Avalambam is holding on to something asat. Avalambam. Avalambanam is what? Avalambanam is holding on. Lakshmi Nrusimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. We say, oh Lord, you give me your hand. Give me your hand as a helping hand, as a support. Avalambam. I will hold your hand and walk. I will hold your hand and walk. Hand holding. That is what is Avalambam. So, Asataha Avalambam Kaha Kuryat. Who will do? And Janan. Janan means one who knows, one having realized the truth. Having realized the truth, Shruti Pramanaha, Janan, having known the thing, who will do? Kaha Kuryat, Asataha Avalambam, Swapata Hetoho. Swapata Hetoho Kaha Kuryat. Swapata Hetoho. That is, Hetu means the cause. The cause for one's own downfall. Swapata Hetu. One's own downfall. That is the cause for one's own downfall. What is that? What is it? That is asataha avalambam. That is holding on to external objects. He is the cause, or that will be the cause for his own downfall. Which fool will do? Sishuvat mumukshuhu. Mumukshuhu, somebody who is interested in moksha. Shishuvat, like a child. Like a child, will he do that? He will not do. Shishuvat swapata hetoho asataha. Swapata hetoho asataha. This Swapata Hetu is the adjective for the word Asat. Asat is the unreal thing. That unreal thing is the Swapata Hetu. That is the cause for one's own downfall. Avalambam of that is holding on to that. Which fool will do? Nobody will hold on to that which is going to be the cause for one's own downfall. So that is the overall meaning. Then the next shloka, the next shloka is about then Sushupti Jagarana. Okay. Then he says, these two things, when you are having that Satya Abhisandhanam, naturally this Deha Abhisandhanam will disappear. So that is what he says. When Deha Abhisandhanam is there, Satya Abhisandhanam will not be there. When Satya Abhisandhanam is there, Deha Abhisandhanam will not be there. So that is what he is going to say. Dehadi samsakti mato namuktihi muktasya dehadya bhimatya bhavaha Suptasya no jagaranam najagratah swapnastayor bhinnagunashrayatvat. Then he says, Dehadi samsakti mataha. That is, Dehadi samsaktiman is the word. Dehadi samsaktiman is a person who is having this asakti in samsakti or asakti, one and the same. Samsakti, sam is an upasarga, a is an upasarga. Both mean the same. Dehadi asakti mataha. One who is having that, say, attachment, asakti can be attachment, identification, attachment. So for a person, na muktihi. For a person who is having that sort of attachment, there is no question of mukti, there is no question of any release for him. And muktasya, and for somebody who is a mukta, for somebody who is having deha sangha abhimana, there is no mukti. And a mukta, for a mukti, dehadhyabhimatya bhavaha. Dehabhimana will not be there. Dehabhimana, this identification with the body-mind complex or identification with any unreal, anything external is abhava. Abhava means that doesn't exist at all. Then suptasya no jagaranam, na jagratah swapnah. Suptasya, for somebody who is asleep, who is sleeping, not only asleep, who is dreaming, suptaha. No jagaranam. A person sleep, for a sleeping man, there is no question of awareness, say wakeful state. And na jagrataha, for somebody who is in the wakeful state, na swapnaha, he will not be dreaming. Tayoho bhinna gunashrayatvat, because these two are totally different. They are dependent on totally different. They are dependent on totally different gunas. Bhinna guna ashrayatvat. So the nature of swapna is different. The nature of jagrati is different. Bhinna guna. For this bhinna guna ashrayatvat, there is no special explanation given by in the commentary also. Swapna tayoho bhinna gunashrayatvad. For these two things, because these two things, this swapna and jagaranam, these two things are totally different, and then they are leading to something totally different results. In jagarana your experience is different, in supti your experience is different. Supti here of course it means sushupti also. In the Avatarika he says, in sushupti this padartha jnanam is not there. Swapna of course there is a false, say there is something which is projected by the mind. In Jagrata Avastha this padartha jnana will be there. So these two contradicting things will not exist in the same person at the same time. They will be there at two different times. So that is what he says. Then now we come to the next section, which is talking about Atmanistha. What is Atmanistha? That is, what is this awareness? What is this particular vision? What is this particular vision called? The self-awareness, Atmanistha. So he says, then again, Antarbhahihi. Antarbahis swam sthira jangameshu jnanatmanadharataya vilokya tyakta kilopadhirakhanda rupaha purnatmanaya sthitayesha muktaha. Who is a mukta? He is defining. Who is a mukta? Mukta means a realized person. A person who is a liberated person or a realized person. Who is he? So he, what is he? Purnatmana yaha sthitaha yesha muktaha. Purnatmana yaha sthitaha. A person who is who has realized himself as the Purnam. A person who has realized himself as that infinity. He is only mukta. A person who is not infinity, he is not mukta. Satyam jnanam anantam. You are in that ananta. So if you see that anantam, why is that word ananta said? Ananta is something, you see, satyam, it is said initially, there all the three words they support one another. Satyam, it says Trikala Badhyam is Satyam. So when you merely say that it is something which is Trikala Badhyam, it can mean something, anything insentient also. It can mean something insentient, isn't it? A huge mass of stone or a huge mass something. So to avoid that it is, to avoid the implication that it is something insentient, this word jnanam has been used. It is of the nature of jnanam. It is not as though it is a huge mass of, say, insentient thing. It is something jnanam. When you merely say that jnanam, there is a problem. That is a jnanam, jnayam, jnata, the triputi will be there. So when there is a jnanam and jnayam difference, jnata and jnayam, that difference is there, then again that triputi exists. So this jnata is somebody who is a limited person. In order to avoid that implication, that anantam is used. This is anantam, this is infinite consciousness, where this jnata, jnayam, bhedam is not there. That is nowhere known relationship or nowhere known difference, let us say. Nowhere known distinction is not there. It is pure consciousness, pure awareness. That is why Swamiji says space-like consciousness, or Tattvavidananda Swami says space-like consciousness. So something like that. So here, Antarbahihi swam sthirajangameshu. Antaha bahihi. For this infinity, there is no such thing as antaha bahihi. Antaha means something inside. Bahi means outside. For infinity, there is no such thing as antar bahi. Because everything is infinity. There is no such thing. If there is a confined object, there is something inside and there is something outside. Inside my body, there is a lot of structure, some bones, some flesh, etc., etc. Outside my body, the whole world is there. So for the infinity, there is no such thing. So, Antarbahihi swam Sthirajangameshu. Sthirajangameshu means what? Sthira means something which is insentient. Jangama. Jangama means gachati. Gam dhatu. Jangama, that is sentient, moving. All moving and unmoving things. Sthavara Jangama, we use the word. The same thing. Sthira Jangama is same as Sthavara Jangama, that is insentient and sentient. In all the things, Swam Vilokya. One has to see oneself. One has to see oneself in the whole thing. Oneself means what? Myself is not different from that supreme consciousness, that Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So when I am in that state of awareness, I don't see anything as external. I don't see this Sthavara, Jangama, Antaha, Bahihi, I don't see. He is beyond. And how am I seeing myself? Jnanatmana Adharataya Vilokya. I am seeing myself as Jnanatmana. Jnanatmana Vilokayami, Adharataya Vilokayami. That is, Jnanatmana means this is of the nature of consciousness, this is of the nature of intelligence. Not only that, this is of the nature of Adhara. This consciousness is the Adhara. Adhara means what? The substratum, the support. This consciousness is the support for all the thing which is appearing. It is from this consciousness alone which all this thing is manifesting. All this phenomenon, what we call phenomenal world, is manifesting only from that consciousness. So that is Jnanatmana Adharataya. This Jnanam or consciousness is the Adhara. So in that manner, having seen in that manner, Vilokya means having understood, having realized in that manner. Vilokya, that is Lep Pratyaya, you know that Lep. Yeah. Having seen, having realized in that particular manner, then Tyakta Akhilopadhihi Akhanda Rupaha. Tyakta Akhilopadhihi means what? Akhila Upadhihi Tyaktaha Tyakta Yena. One by whom all these Upadhis have been discarded. Upadhi is what? Upadhi is delimitedness. Upadhi, you know, Ghata is an Upadhi. Upadhi is something which delimits, which confines something, an entity. So Upadhi, Samipe Sthitva, Adhiyate Swagunan Adadhati iti Upadhihi. We have heard about that Upadhi definition. Say that red flower which is next to a crystal. So all that gunas appear in this. In that context we have seen that word Upadhi. But here it is not like that. Upadhi is the body-mind complex is one Upadhi. Another body-mind complex is another Upadhi. Another body-mind complex is another Upadhi. All these things, they are like individuated consciousness. One Swamiji uses this word, individuated consciousness. That is the same consciousness. It is affected by, it is looking as though affected by or filtered by this body-mind complex. And so the Vidyaranya Swami gives the example of mirrors, colored glasses through which a white light passes. When it passes through a green glass, the outcome is a green thing. When it passes through some red thing, the outcome is again red. So this, what is this glass? This glass is our own antahkarna, our own body-mind. So the same consciousness which is associated with this body-mind complex is that individuated consciousness, and that is what is a upadhi, that is what is delimiting. So a person who goes beyond this delimitation, a person who rejects all these delimitations, he is called tyakta akhilopadhihi. This word also is a Bahuvrihi Samasam. Akhilopadhihi tyakta yena. Then akhanda rupaha. A person whose rupam, whose swarupa is akhanda. Khanda means what? Khanda means all bits. Akhanda means something which is of the nature of infinity. Akhanda, the only akhanda is infinity, isn't it? Akhanda Deepam also we use in that word we use in our puja rooms also. Akhanda Deepam. So akhanda is something which is where is this? Upadhi is something which is khanda, and Nirupadhi is beyond that upadhi. When all the upadhis are negated, that is what is Nirupadhi. Nirupadhi is something which is akhanda. Akhanda rupaha. Then Purnatmana yaha sthitaha. The person who stays in that Purnatma, in that awareness of oneself as that Purnam, that infinity. So he is the person who is a mukta, a person who is liberated, really liberated. So that the upadhi and nirupadhi, these two words are to be noted here. And that is, and we can recall another word called Prajnana Ghana. Prajnana Ghana, what is the Prajnana Ghana? That consciousness in which again this Jnata, Jnayam difference is not there. That is what is Prajnana Ghana. Just a mass of consciousness, an ocean of consciousness where this knower-known relationship is not there. That is Prajnana Ghana. Then the next shloka, then again he is saying about the same Atmanishtha. Sarvatmana bandha vimukti hetuhu sarvatma bhavan aparosti kasyit drusyagrahe satyupapadyate sau sarvatma bhavosya sadatmanishtaya. Here again he is saying what exactly is the cause? What exactly is the cause for mukti? The cause for that mukti is sarvatma bhava. The cause or sadhanam, let us say, not exactly sadhanam. Sadhanam is again all this process of Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasana, all those things will be there. Then that sarvatma bhava, realizing that or attaining that sarvatma bhava, he is the cause for bandha vimukti. Bandha vimukti is release from all types of bondages. So long as you do not have that sarvatma bhava, this release from bondage is not there. When you attain that sarvatma bhava, then automatically the bondages they drop off. That is the overall meaning of this shloka. Sarvatmana means by all counts, by all reckoning, only one thing has to be known. So that is in that sense, sarvatmana in all by all counts. That is the meaning. Bandha vimukti hetuhu sarvatma bhavat na paraha asti kasyit. That is, apart from this sarvatma bhava, there is no other say cause for the bandha vimukti. Apart from this sarvatma bhava, and what is this sarvatma bhava? Sarvatma bhava again we see in Gita, Bhagavad Gita. What is that shloka? Sarvabhuta atma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Something like that we see in Gita. Sarvabhuta atma bhutatma. That is a person who has realized this, that there is only one Atma which is there pervading in all, and his Atma is the same which is there in everything else. So that is Sarvatma Bhava. That is, there is only one Atma which is there manifesting in all the Antahkaranas, including small animal, including a mosquito, including an ant, everything. So a person with that say realization, he will not do any harm to anything else, because he is seeing himself in all the beings. He is seeing sarvabhuteshu cha atmani. There is another line also. Sarvabhuteshu atma he sees, and then in himself he sees all the bhutam, all the beings. So that is another line in Gita. So that is what is sarvatma bhava. Sarvatma bhava is that level of awareness. Then he is seeing himself, sarvabhutatma bhutatma is, that is, he is seeing himself as the self of all. He is seeing himself as the self of all. So apart from that, there is no other hetu for bandha vimukti. The only hetu for bandha vimukti is sarvatma bhava. Is it clear? The only hetu for bandha vimukti is sarvatma bhava. Unless one has attained that particular level, there is no bandha vimukti. There is no freedom from bondage. Then drusyagrahe sati upapadyate asau. Asau refers to sarvatma bhava. This particular sarvatma bhava upapadyate. When is it attained? Upapadyate means it happens. Upapadyate. Sarvatma bhava, when does it happen? What? 1 minute. This sarvatma bhava, how is it attained? Drusya agraha. Drusyagrahe. Not agraha. Agraha is something different. Agraha. Agrahanam is not accepting, not going after drusya. Drusya agrahanam. Drusyagrahe. Drusya agraha. Graha is to grab, isn't it? Agraham is not holding on to that. That is drusyam. You are going away from the drusyam. Drusyagrahe sati upapadyate asau. Asau is asau sarvatma bhavaha. Drusyagrahe upapadyate. Now that you know Sanskrit a lot, you can speak in Sanskrit also. असौ सर्वात्मभावः दृश्याग्रहे सति उपपद्यते. It happens only when there is drishya agraha. That is when you have discarded or rejected the drishya. Then sarvatmabhavah asya sadatmanisthaya. Sadatmanisthaya. What is this sadatmanisthaya? That is by this atmanishtha alone. By this atmanishtha alone, this sarvatmabhava is attained. So drishya agraha is one thing, sadatmanishtha is another thing. One leading to another. Drishya agraha is consciously rejecting, because it is a conscious practice also. There is drishya agraha, it doesn't happen in a very immediate, in a hasty manner. So I want to suddenly discard all the things, it cannot happen. It has to be a very conscious practice for a long period of time. That is abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. Abhyasa has to be there. So this drishya agraha will lead to sadatmanishtha, and that sadatmanishtha is leading to sarvatma bhava, and sarvatma bhava is leading to bandha vimukti. So that is the overall meaning here. Then Swamiji, of course, he has quoted something, yato yato nivartate. So he has quoted some more points here. We will continue in the next class. Harihi Om Tat Sat. ఈరోజు టైం ఎంత అయింది? 50 minutes అయిందా? అరే